Okay everyone, so this is part 2 of the 1992 Rocky Ridge. This is the strip down. I've already taken the wheels off because that's a pretty boring part of the video. But what I'll do now is I'll just strip the cables and, take the bike apart. Before I strip the bike, and bear in mind this is the second time I've filmed this because I'm doing it in landscape rather than portrait. So I've actually gone round and already clipped everything. However, before I start, I like to go through the bike and just judge what stuff I'll need to work on and which stuff will get binned. Now this bike has been used. I've been taking it up into the hills and the shifters are a little bit clogged up. So with some degreaser and a little bit of tug of war, these guys should be back to new. The stem is relatively unmarked and the decal is in good nick, so that'll stay. The bars, look, I mean, they're almost polished anyway. Grips, fucked, so they're off. Fully recable everything. This seems to be a bit of a weak point for most bikes. Once they go in there, they just seem to crack. So the forks, seen better days, and even after a polish will still look rather tired. So powder coating them is fairly cheap, and I'll probably do that. Plenty of these stickers lying around from previous builds. The recoil springs in the cantilever brakes are pretty good, so I'm happy with that. That's not often the case. The frame speaks for itself. That is just hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of polishing and sanding. One thing to note, especially if you're new to this, always remember to take the bolts out. Silly as this sounds, if you get impatient, put the crank extractor on and forget to take that off, instant threading. Hopefully this will come off, and then beneath that we've got the bottom bracket. Again, can be a struggle. Let's just fingers crossed that that comes out with no hassle. Mark where the front derailleur has been done previously, just to give yourself an easier time when resetting it and setting it up. Seat post speaks for itself. That's pretty whack, that seat post, isn't it? So the seat actually, so I've got a new one for that. Rear derailleur, whip him off, take the chain off, and then we're down to the bare frame and we can start polishing that and getting the components cleaned up too. To get the bolt out, it is a 14mm socket. Fits in pretty snug with this socket set, so I'll whip that out now. Another thing to mention, and most guys will mention this too, no matter what it is, at least have something to put all your parts in, because from the very beginning you can just drop stuff on the ground and it's gone forever pretty much. So this will be my vessel for the day. I've no idea what that started off life as. Maybe a cereal box of some sort. Got some imperial measurements. But anyway, this will become the vessel for all these parts. Okay, this is a very gnarly crank extractor tool. It used to have a rubberized handle on it. From years of pounding it with a hammer, I destroyed the grip. Because it is made of metal, you can still strike it with the hammer. It does burr, so that needs filing off now and then, unless you have disgusting hands like me. This was odd, and due to the fact that I'm filming it, this is the kind of stuff that happens. The crank extraction tool threaded in, but it only embedded partially. I was pretty happy with the grip, so I was willing to go and continue turning it, and lo and behold, it popped off, which is great news because normally they don't. So we can move on. When you actually look deeper into the threads, you can see that there's been some sort of impact. It's hard to tell on this potato phone, but could have spent a bit more time cleaning out those threads for sure. But yeah, the outer part where you initialize, if that's a word, the threading of the crank extractor tool, it just kept slipping. It was kind of being pushed out, but it appears there was a burr, wouldn't allow it to engage. But this dirty son of a bitch is now off. One good note to make about chains, even when they are old and shit, is to, if you're gonna bring the bike back to life, as I am with the same setup, keep the chain. It comes off because it's a simple measurement. Just line up the new chain with the old one. Brilliant. Well, I'm sailing, yeah. This is my friend Stanley, and he is going to be used for taking off the grips. Right, the cranks come off pretty easy actually. So now it's down to the devil himself, the bottom bracket. It's spinning very nicely actually. Yeah, it's a little bit noisy, but that's far from seized. These cups appear to be made of metal, so the jaws or the teeth of the bottom bracket tool should fit quite nicely. If anyone's ever tried to extract plastic cups, you'll know that it's a disaster waiting to happen. So I'll get the tool in there, clamp it on, and yeah, wish me luck. Right then guys, I'm going to attempt to take out the drive side first. So I've got the bottom bracket tool fitted nicely in there, and I've restrained it by fitting what would normally hold on the crank arm bolt and a little washer behind it, in this case plastic, which will probably explode, but it'll keep the tool firmly in place so I can apply pressure without it popping out and ruining the threads. Right, so it's got to the point now I've inverted the bike, and it's time to get medieval with it, which involves, I mean, fucking hell, camera's going all over the shop here. This is real shit. The bike's inverted and I'm losing my mind turning this motherfucking thing. Nice. But it's coming. So each time I get a decent rotation, I lose portions of my lower back, and I had a bit more of that. Keep it going. Just think how good it'll look when this baby's out. Jesus. But the tool is staying in. The little bolt, the crank bolt, bolted in place, doing a good job. Just keep going. I feel like Joe Wicks. Come on guys, keep it going. And out it comes. Happy days. Okay. Oh. Alright, this is the driver's side view. I can actually rotate that with my hand now. There is grease on it and not too much rust, but yeah, these things are notorious really, aren't they? Let's have a look. So yeah, it's well greased. It's showing signs of wear. It is from 1992. Shimano UN11 I think, but yeah, pretty nice. Okay, so this is what's happening with the plastic one. All the grooves here for the tool were gnarly as, so what I've done is just to slowly chisel behind the bottom bracket, exposing the threads, and if I do that side and that side, it'll be halved and it will just fall away, as you will see shortly. Okay, so I have got through the plastic there. I'll try and do everything upside down. Let's do it from out here. Now I can squeeze the cup together, and out it comes. Horrible, these things, but there are methods to get them out which don't involve fire. Okay, it's back to the simple stuff now. Taking off the headset, you can get these lovely, I think this is actually a Park tool. No, it isn't. I'm a cheapskate. I think this is Cyclo. Anyway, get a better tool because the jaws do over time start to get a bit shit and don't grip very well. Anyway, time to get the headset off and the forks out. That's the bike in its vessel. Awful choice. Minimal stuff at the bottom, top heavy. So yeah, it's not pretty. It never is. This is the reality. Shit everywhere. Gonna take ages to clear up. But they are all the components off the bike. Now it is just the bare frame. I'll get the cups out, seat post off, and yeah, start the arduous process of cleaning and polishing the frame. So there we have it, that's the bare frame. All the components have been released relatively easily. The bottom bracket was a pig, as it always is, but everything else just fell off, no problem. The next phase is to get the frame, probably a bit of sanding first, then polished. It's a long process getting off the lacquer and the clear coat. If anyone's ever done it, you'll understand. If not, enjoy the hell that I'm about to go through. Got to get those stickers off first as well. But trust me, when it's done, these bikes look beautiful and it'll be well worth it. So yeah, part 3 will be the polishing and the sanding. Ugh.